I thank the gentleman. I recognize the subcommittee chairman on early childhood, elementary, and secondary education, the gentleman from California, Mr. Kiley.
Hello, Secretary McMahon. It was just 5 months ago that we had a Secretary of Education who was an enthusiastic supporter of shutting down schools during COVID, who was an enthusiastic supporter of forcing 2-year-olds to wear masks, who actually encouraged school districts, K-12 schools, to adopt COVID vaccine mandates. We had an administration that investigated parents as domestic terrorists for showing up at school board meetings, that attacked charter schools, that refused to condemn universities for caving to the demands of anti-Semites, that set out to destroy girls' sports, and that saw $200 billion added to education spending while student performance plummeted. Things are a little different now, aren't they?
I certainly hope so.
But unfortunately, in my state of California, they're the same, or actually they're worse than they've ever been. And you've already taken a number of steps to try to help out students in California. I did just want to highlight a couple other areas where the problems in our state's education system may fall within your jurisdiction in upholding the civil rights laws. First is when it comes to charter schools. I know you're a huge supporter of charters, and I believe you support the bill I've introduced, the High Quality Charter Schools Act. But in California, the governor and the legislature have declared war on charter schools. They're trying to stop new charters from starting. They're trying to shut down high-performing charters. A particularly egregious example is in Santa Clara. The Office of Education told one of the highest-performing public schools in the state, Bullis Charter School, that unless you engage in outright racial discrimination, we're going to non-renew your charter. Unless you have fewer Asian students, we're going to non-renew your charter. And then there was something similar that happened in Oakland Unified, where a charter school actually was non-renewed for similar reasons. So that's charter schools. The second issue is ethnic studies. So the state has seen fit to adopt a new ethnic studies graduation requirement for high school, but some districts have gone above and beyond and are already offering what's being called liberated ethnic studies. Now, both the model curriculum and these more specific liberated ethnic studies curriculums have been condemned as being overtly anti-Semitic. We saw an example of this actually in the last Congress when the superintendent of Berkeley Unified testified here that she thought a slide showing that students that the expression from the river to the sea is a valid perspective, she saw no problem with that. So I know that you may not want to comment on particular investigations that may or may not be under consideration, but do you see these as areas in which you might be able to help us out, either one of them?
Well, a lot of that definitely still does fall within the local or state jurisdiction for schools. But I think in terms of universities, you've already seen how the Department of Education will come in for Title VI violations, and so we would continue to do that.
Well, thank you very much. And I did want to say just a word about the situation at universities as well. Now, I have zero sympathy for Harvard. They were rated as having the very worst protections for free speech of any university in the country, actually any university in the history of the survey. And then when it came to anti-Semitism, I think it's actually underappreciated, the horrors that happened on that campus. We've heard from Jewish students at that university here who have testified how they were afraid to leave their dorms, how if they did, they were harassed, they were physically assaulted. You had pro-Hamas thugs who would follow them to class and monitor their movements. All the while, the university failed to protect them, instead catering to the demands of their tormentors. So I have very little sympathy for the university, and I think when they say, oh, well, we've changed some things, or we did a task force, clearly inadequate. What happened on that campus, reviving one of the most, perhaps, retrograde and ancient prejudice in world history and becoming a hotbed for it on their campus, that reflects a fundamental sickness that requires fundamental reform. So I think that what the administration is doing is absolutely necessary. The one point I would just raise is I wonder a little bit what the end game is here. Our universities have had a lot of problems in recent years and decades. They cost too much, they deliver too little value to students, and they've incubated a lot of the problems we have more broadly as a country. But throughout our history, they've actually been huge national assets. It's a great thing for our country that we've had universities that lead the world and the best and brightest from all around the world want to study at and then contribute to our country. So the word of caution I might just add is that when it comes to the ultimate goal here, I hope that the goal is not to reduce these institutions to a shadow of their former selves, but rather to revive the ideals that used to guide universities and to restore them to being national assets again, rather than the liabilities that they've become. And I'd be very happy to help in any way that I can with that goal.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to work with you on that.
Thanks very much. Yield back.